Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so I start. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
And good afternoon, everybody.
Oh,
Professor Chen, Professor Sonny, also Dr. Ahmad Muttaqin, and all the participants of this activity. First, I would like to say thank you very much. And then this is actually ASKUI Talk 2 under the topics COVID-19 and its impact to the higher education in Indonesia. And Alhamdulillah, we already have 3 speakers. First is Dr. Muttaqin from Council of Higher Education and Research Development, Central Board of Muhammadiyah. And also, I also would like to introduce Professor Yinghuei Chen, some of the head of International Office of Muhammadiyah Higher Education already knows him very well. He is the Dean of International College, Asia University, Taiwan. And also Professor Sonny Zulhuda. He is a head of internationalizations and global network at Ahmad Ibrahim College of Laws, International Islamic University, Malaysia. As the chairman of the associations, allow me to deliver my best gratitude to those 3 speakers, Prof. Chen, Prof. Sonny Zulhuda, and also Dr. Ahmad Muttaqin. Thank you very much. And also for all the participants for today. I saw it's not only from the head of international office, but most of the participants are teachers, lecturers from Muhammadiyah Education. Also, I saw some students actually, they joined this activity because we would like to know about how Taiwan protect the country from the outbreaks and also how Malaysia handle the COVID-19 outbreaks in the country, especially in International Islamic University, Malaysia, and also Asia University, Taiwan, respectively. So thank you very much again for your time. We do believe that the discussions will be something very fruitful for all the internationalizations process in higher education in Indonesia, especially in Muhammadiyah, as one of the biggest movement which concern with education in educations. And we know that in these bizarre situations, we just can deliver our hope that the outbreak is going to be finished as soon as possible. Then, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, we create this talk actually to be into series. So this is the second series of the discussions. And then today discussion would be led by Ibu Rizky Alfiani Suaif, or simply you can call her Miss Ori. Yeah, she is a head of International Office of Universitas Muhammadiyah Kendari. So finally, I would like to say enjoy the talk and thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I give a time to Bu Ori. Monggo Ibu.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be the moderator of this series of talks. Thank you very much for Pak Jordan who has given me this opportunity, and I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Nuris Fiani Soaib, or you simply can call me Ori. Pak Jordan Gunawan have also I've also informed that I'm a head of International Office for Universitas Muhammadiyah Kendari, which is in Southeast Sulawesi, Indonesia. Okay, so yeah, like what Pak Jordan has told us, that so this is a part of the series of ASKUI talks held by Association of International Offices of Muhammadiyah Higher Education in Indonesia. And for this for this good occasion, there will be 3 speakers. I would like to welcome to there will be 3 speakers, and first is I would like to say welcome to Pak Ahmad Muttaqin, M.Ag, M.A, Ph.D. Welcome, sir. Pak Ahmad Muttaqin is the Vice Treasurer, Council of Higher Education and Research Development, Central Board of Muhammadiyah. Assalamualaikum, sir. And then the second speaker is Professor Yinghuei Chen, Ph.D. as the Dean of International College of Asia University Taiwan. Welcome, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Indonesia. Okay, and then the third speakers will be Professor Sonny Zulhuda, PhD, head of International Research and Global Network in IIU. Welcome, sir. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you all. Okay, without further ado, I would like to please the first speakers, Pak Ahmad Muttaqin, PhD, to deliver your presentations entitled with the Muhammadiyah Higher Education Response and Policy to COVID-19. Please, sir, time is yours.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I would like to be a last speaker because actually, okay,
Yeah.
because I think Taiwan's already prepared very well because it get the first one of the first outbreak from the COVID-19, but followed by the Malaysia, and then we in Indonesia actually part of the last one of the country who responded very, very late. But it's okay. Let me for the first time to share my presentation which I already prepared. Okay, I hope you can find this presentation. PowerPoints, Muhammadiyah Higher Education's Response and Policy to COVID-19. And as you know that the Council for Higher Education of the Muhammadiyah and Central Board of Muhammadiyah already established what they call as M.Ag or Muhammadiyah COVID-19 Command Center. And you can find the activity of M.Ag is very active. They always report daily what they already did, and then also many kind of program already was done. And if we talk about how Muhammadiyah Higher Education response and policy considering the COVID-19, first of all, I want to refer to the what we call as a surat edaran or handbill or circular letter about how Muhammadiyah Higher Education institutions responds to the COVID-19. And as you know, the surat edaran or handbill from the Council for Higher Education, Research and Development is actually as a follow-up of, first of all, circular letter from the Minister of Education and Culture, Republic of Indonesia, which is released on March 9, 2020, about COVID-19 prevention in education units. And then it's also referred to the maklumat or notice letter from Central Board of Muhammadiyah about the COVID-19 outbreak. If we refer to the surat edaran or handbill, it's actually regulated to kind of thing. First, it's about the general policy, and then the second is about how we implement the 5 pillars of Muhammadiyah Higher Education, or what we call Dharma, in the condition of COVID-19 outbreak. Okay, in terms of general policy, we can see that the Council of Higher Education asks and urges the higher education institutions under the Muhammadiyah to keep calm and increasing awareness and healthy life habit and actively participate in precautionary measures in accordance with the protocol. And then we also encourage all Muhammadiyah higher education leaders, lecturers, and administrator staff, as well as the students, to support campus policies related to the prevention policies toward COVID-19. And then we also encourage all Muhammadiyah higher education leader, lecturer, administrator, staff, students to be smart in social media activities. As you know that there are many hope about the COVID-19 and about joke, and which is actually inappropriate to be shared and consumed. And then we also encourage all the leader of Muhammadiyah higher education to impose maximum restriction on campus, the entire academic community and education staff by taking into account the current condition of COVID-19 and regional emergencies. And then the implementation later is more thoroughly regulated by the leadership of the Muhammadiyah higher education by taking into account the emergency condition and safety standards. So we actually from the council give very big opportunity to every Muhammadiyah higher education leader to regulate based on their own conditions. Then let's see in the point B or point 2 about the how four pillars of Muhammadiyah higher education or Catur Dharma Tinggi implemented in our current conditions. As we know that the fourth pillar of Muhammadiyah higher education is regulating about the teaching and learning, research and publication, and community engagement or community service. And then the last one is about the implementation of Islamic and Muhammadiyah values. Other universities maybe have three dharma or three pillar of higher education, but the Muhammadiyah higher education we usually combines what we call as of, and how the first pillar in the context of teaching and learning implemented in outbreak conditions. First of all, we recommended that all Muhammadiyah higher education to conduct online-based distance learning on all type of learning, both theory, practicum, tutorial, and even clinic learning if possible for all faculties and study programs. And then the online-based distance learning activities can be carried out using a learning platform that can be accessed by students from outside the campus according to the respective Muhammadiyah higher education conditions. As we know that not all Muhammadiyah higher education institutions already have very well in terms of online learning systems, but that we still urge them to do it online. And then the learning process that cannot be meeting have to pay attention to the strict health protocol, including but not limited to the following provision, such as the number of entrance and exit door must be reduced while keeping open the emergency door. And then everyone must be asked to wash their hands before entering and after leaving the lecture or work areas. And then the body temperature of all the academic community and staff. And then the distance of the sitting positions should be meet to the protocol for the minimum distance 1 meter from each person. And then the number of people in class or group must not exceed the ratio of people in room where there must be a minimum distance of 1 meter. And then the duration of the learning time is created in such a way that it can be finished in a short time as possible. Still on the context of teaching and learning, for profession practice activity such as a nurse, study programs, which cannot be replaced by online learnings, the implementation of the teaching and learning process must in according to strict protocol, unless the hospital or the holding of place of practices prohibit the training activities. For profession student whose hospital or place of practice prohibit the training practice, the implementation of practice lecture must be postponed until the place of practice reopen to the practice activity. And then, in this that the profession practices continues to be carried out In such conditions, there must be a strict mechanism for control, monitoring, and evaluation. And then all academic and student activities outside the campus are temporarily suspended until the conditions permit. And then Muhammadiyah higher education leader and staff must always remind and encourage students to learn from home, avoid crowd, avoid go to public or tourist area, and come to campus during distance learning online. To Muhammadiyah higher education leader can limit on campus internet access for the surrounding environment and for the specific times. Okay, this is because the capability of our students for what processing the data package is very limited, and then they tend to go to the building that have Wi-Fi, and then sometimes we already encourage them to study at home, but then because at their home they don't have data package and Wi-Fi facility, then they go to somewhere place such as on campus to get Wi-Fi access. Therefore, we ask the leader of the university, Muhammadiyah University, to limit the availability of the Wi-Fi access on campus. And then, regarding to the research and publications, we ask and recommend that all lecturers and students are encouraged and supported to actively participate in the research on and handling of COVID-19 by conducting applied research that can be used by the community related to the physical, psychological, social, economic, or even spiritual issues that related to the cause and impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And then higher education leaders are encouraged to proactively encourage and support the research and publication of lecturer and student related to the COVID-19, including to utilize research laboratories that are optimally supported. And then in the context of community service, we encourage that a lecturer and student are asked to be actively involved in conducting proper education and socialization related to the COVID-19 to the public. And then encourage the Muhammadiyah education in health work or psychologists and other workers to person of health and social facility, especially in Muhammadiyah clinic institution, and then we also encourage Muhammadiyah higher education leaders to use network in order with the volunteers needed by the Muhammadiyah ISL. And then we also encourage education leader to coordinate and collaborate with all Muhammadiyah elements in the response Muhammadiyah COVID-19 Command Center or MCCC team, Muhammadiyah Disaster Management Center or MDM, Public Health Advisory Council or MPKO, to optimize volunteers from Muhammadiyah higher education elements. And then we also encourage Muhammadiyah higher education leaders to participate in assisting facilities and infrastructure, including funding and fundraising in handling COVID-19 pandemic, such as personal protective equipment for health workers in the hospitals. So this is actually in context of community service. And then the last one, in the context of how implement Islamic and Muhammadiyah values or AIK. We encourage Muhammadiyah higher education leaders to direct all their lecture, staff, students, and their families to always improve worship, and set an example for the surrounding community. And we know that Muhammadiyah or Majelis Tarjih already published leaflet and book about how to perform ibadah under the condition of COVID-19. And then we also encourage Muhammadiyah higher education leader to give advice to lecturers, staff, and students to coordinate with Muhammadiyah leaders at the central, regional, or branch, or even in sub-branch level in the prevention and handling of COVID-19 pandemics. And then we also encourage Muhammadiyah higher education leader to appeal to the lecturers, staff, and students to take the wisdom and lesson learned of the COVID-19 pandemic as a stage to improve family security and health, especially in area the Islamic and Muhammadiyah values or Aika in the families and community. And then the last one, we also encourage Muhammadiyah higher education leaders to continue to analyze the Islamic values to the lecturers, staff, and students through creative and innovative model, method, and media amid the COVID-19 pandemics. And before I finish my presentation, I would like to share some of the best practice already done by some Muhammadiyah universities. As we already collect the data from our institutions, at least right now, we have more than 50 Muhammadiyah higher educations already established COVID-19 response team in some of the activities, ranging from combining about the information coronavirus, and then producing hand sanitizer, and then like community service by providing what the basic need for the community impacted by the virus. And then also this is one of the best thing, I think. In UHAMKA, for example, they switch the budget of this service to what they call as what community service regarding the COVID-19. And if based on the flyer, the budget for this, the budget that already switched from the regular to the current condition is almost 1 billion. And then I have to underline here that all of the activity about the COVID-19 team already established by the Muhammadiyah higher education institution should be called M.Ag Muhammadiyah COVID-19 Command Center. And we know if you can go to the website that this what task force that established by the PP Muhammadiyah already done many things, including what provide many tips, many PDF book, and then also many flyers that is very useful. And then for the next, we actually will to assess the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the institution budget. As we know that the Ministry of Education and Culture just released another circular letter which asked university administrator to postpone or to prolong, I think, the process of study in this semester. Can be postponed until December. If this happens, of course, the Muhammadiyah University, as part of the private university, will have very big impact in terms of financial budget. That's why we asked them, the leader of Muhammadiyah University, to calculate the impact and drafting budget simulation in the next 6 months. And possibly maybe they have to revise the yearly budget in order they still have a healthy financial budget management. And then in the next, we also would like to strengthen coordination and collaboration among more 50 Muhammadiyah higher education which has established COVID-19 response team with the Muhammadiyah COVID-19 Command Center. And then this is the last ones. We are going to mobilize of fundraising in collaboration with Lazismu. This is the fundraiser institutions under the Muhammadiyah body. Okay, I think this is what I can explain as the Muhammad's response and policy to COVID-19. Thank you very much, and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. A very interesting insight, especially how higher education in Indonesia dealing with this situation in terms of Muhammadiyah universities. Okay, thank you, sir. Now we move to the second speakers, which is Professor Chen Yinghuei Chen, Ph.D. With the title with Command and Control, Taiwan excels in managing COVID-19 as a best practice from ASEAN University. Okay, sir, time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Jordan in forming this kind of conference, video conferencing for this purpose, and thank NER for hosting this talk. Actually, I have to say I did not prepare many slides for this purpose. Unlike Ahmad, I think he is quite comprehensive in addressing the so-called precautionary measures of Muhammadiyah against the virus. But before I get started, I just give you some brief facts about the impact of this virus in Taiwan. So far, up to date, until this afternoon, we have altogether 380 confirmed cases. Okay, 380 confirmed cases. We have about 23 million people. So in other words, we have the 380 confirmed cases, but all the people tested, we have 42,315. In other words, of the people tested, about 1.84% proved positive. And so far, 5 people die of the virus. And in terms of our daily life, Taiwan is pretty normal. Okay, we go to work every day. Like me, as the dean, I come to the university every day, sit in my office every day for all kinds of activities, except we now don't encourage students to come to school for classroom lecturing. We use mostly online courses, but for courses in the lab or courses that you have to use your hand, we encourage students to come to school. Okay, so I should say our primary schools, secondary schools, and tertiary schools are still open, like back in the normal time. Okay, so I think the virus in Taiwan is quite mild. It's quite mild, and that is the reason why I want to share how come Taiwan, it seems to us, is relatively successful in containing the virus. I use these 2 photos in the slides. These 2 persons, Chen He, who brought a Muslim to Indonesia, for example, and then we have Christopher Columbus. They both are the so-called world explorer. They try to discover the world. They are the good navigators. But my point to students and to the speakers, how come it's Christopher Columbus, not Chen He, who discovered the new continent, who discovered America? Don't forget, Chen He was born about 80 years earlier than Columbus. He started his voyage he undertook 7 voyages around the world. Also started like 80 years ago. And Zheng He was born in Ming Dynasty. At that time, the world superpower, the world #1 in terms of like GDP. China at that time occupied about 52% of the whole world. Even today, the United States claim the world #1 superpower is about 21, 22. China in Ming Dynasty was about 52. Whereas Columbus was born in today's Italy, okay, a very small, country at that time. Actually, Italy was not an independent state. So my purpose is, how come it's Columbus and not Zheng He that discovered America? And it has much to do with what I want to convey, what I want to say. Actually, in Taiwan, we take the virus very serious. When we just heard about the infection, the cases in China, the whole nation is very alert to the danger, to the infection of this, virus. So from the central government to the local government, from the university to, elementary school, everybody is very alert. So I just want to share, actually, attitude decides the outcome. We have very serious attitude fighting against the virus. Consciousness or alertness raising, to me, is the key. Even me, as the Dean of the International College, I start sending all kind of message in terms of how to protect oneself from the infection of the virus, almost like, daily or weekly message to students, especially to our international students. Jordan, as a good partner of Asia University, sometimes receive my, message when I send to the students. So I think, the consciousness raising of the community, of the student, of the staff, I think that is the key. The second PowerPoint I want to show to you, that is my health declaration form. Because of the virus, all the universities in Taiwan are not open to the public. But for Asia University, this is very difficult because our university was built based upon the European universities. It's open campus. So for this university, we just, for student, for teacher, for staff to enter the administration building, the teaching building, we have blocked, almost all the entries except 1 or 2 entries. And before you enter the building, you need to show the form, as I've shown here, declaration form, health declaration. It actually has 3 colors. You see, mine is green color at the bottom. 3 color, green means healthy, means fine. If it's yellow color, that means we need to be very careful. If it's red color, then the student, the staff, that teacher will not be allowed to enter our administration building or teaching building. This is how the first thing we do to fight against the virus. So each student will get an APP, okay? And in the APP, they will just complete their personal history, including their recent travel history, including whether they have developed any suspected symptom of coughing, of fever, of some other sick disease, for example. If they have any symptom, the student will not be allowed to enter our building. I think this is one important measure. So I think so far Asia University, we have the school has started more than 1 month. This semester started on March the 2nd. So far, all the students, local and international, we are very healthy, we are very safe. And actually, we fear no threat of any infection on campus. If you get infected somewhere, that's possible, but on campus, it's almost impossible. We have been doing this every day, okay? So if you want to enter, you have to show this, and we also, had a lot of the so-called sensor, camera, detector, when you enter any building, aside from showing this here's declaration form, the machine will take your temperature. The machine can detect whether you look healthy or not. If you do not look healthy, then you will be stopped by the personnel for a further check. This is what we will be doing. But I think the key issue could be like very transparency in spreading the news to the student, to the staff. So our Dean of Student Affairs write almost every letter to our local students. Me write letters to our international students. And we try to make the situation of the virus as clear, as transparent as possible. So transparency, honesty, to me, is the right attitude in facing this, crisis. And also, I think, we are particular strong in taking all these proactive measures because Ministry of Education in Taiwan, before the virus outbreak starts, the Ministry of Education appoint 3 universities, one in north, one in central part of Taiwan, one in south, the so-called model university, in implementing all kind of precaution measures. And Asia University, because we are very strong nursing college, we are very strong medical health college. So Asia University actually is chosen by Taiwan Ministry of Education as the model university in central part of Taiwan. So we are serving roughly 15 to 20 universities in central part of Taiwan. We produce different kind of survey forms. We produce different kind of, information sheets and send to all the universities, okay? And this is one way Asia University is helping other universities in central Taiwan, but actually 3 universities. So, so far, I think the confirmed cases in Taiwan has remained quite, surprisingly low. And I would say, attitude, is very important. Transparency is very important. And honesty is very important. And I think I just do not want to enter into all the details, but I do believe Muhammadiyah, by reading through all the slides, has done an excellent job. Has done an excellent job, even far better than Asia University. Okay, I think so far I will be waiting for any questions or any feedback or any response. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor, for the presentation. It's very also interesting insight, especially as a university in dealing with the COVID-19 response in Taiwan, especially. Okay, now we move to the last speakers, which is Professor Sonny Zulhuda, Ph.D., with the topic lessons from IIE Malaysia's response to COVID-19. Please, Professor, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good afternoon to everyone. I hope everyone is staying fit, healthy, and well amid this crisis that we globally embrace and go through. Inshallah, everyone will continue to move on with this situation. And so I'm glad to be with everyone here. Just ada backing vocal sebentar. I thank you for the organizer for inviting me for this, for sharing what we have. So there are two parts that I'm going to cover here. First, especially from what the government is doing, and second, from what IIUM is responding, of how IIUM is responding. So let me now switch on to my file for a while. Let me see. Okay, can you now see my slides?
Yes.
Can
Yeah.
sit, Prof.
So, okay, just a brief introduction. IIUM, or National Islamic University, some of you may have visited us. Is one of the 20 public universities in Malaysia. And overall in Malaysia, other than these 20 public universities, there are hundreds, I think about 400 private academies, universities, and so on. So I'd like to start with this very nice view of our students telling everyone to stay safe. This IIUM, for your information, is an international university. Now we have approximately 25,000 students. We are located in some areas, and the main campus is in Gombak, just a suburb of the Kuala Lumpur city. And we have students coming from over 100 countries. So we have more than 100 nationalities in our campus. The international students, for your information, comprise of about almost 30% of the whole university community. The topics I'm going to cover, as I said earlier, was first, I will share with you the updates or the latest condition of the pandemic crisis in Malaysia, and then the response by the government, especially the Ministry of Education, of Higher Education. Yeah, we have this Ministry of Higher Education separate from the Ministry of Education. And then we will see how things are being implemented by IIM. You will see there several issues. So this is the latest numbers that we have. Of course, they are not only numbers. There is life in behind each of this number. So we have, as far as yesterday's data is concerned, because they keep updating it every day, 4,119 positive cases. Then yeah, we have few more than 1,400 release and discharge. But unfortunately, we also have 65 fatalities until now. And if you see the spread of the cases, they are quite well spread actually between all the states in Malaysia. We have 13 states and 1 federal territory, or sorry, 3 federal territories in Malaysia. So they are quite well spread. And we do have a zoning system. As you see, red means red zones means where they have more than 40 cases, positive cases, and then below that would be orange, and then green, orange, and then white, and then if there is 0 case, it is still green. So the government policy in quite measured. Starting from 18th of March, we are now still under a lockdown, a nationwide lockdown. So, well, they don't call it lockdown, and I know some people may not like the word lockdown, so they find several terms. But basically, we are locked down. all people activities, social activities, business activities, including education, cultural, sports, and religious, they are all being locked down. It has been 3 weeks, more or less. It will last until 14th of April, unless the government decide to move with the phase 3. So we don't know yet, because rumors has it that it's going to be a phase 3, meaning it will continue further, and we don't know until when. So we are looking forward to see what is going to be announced by the government. So there is, of course, legal basis for this, and the government doesn't have to look for excuses or justifications, because we have this act. And for those of you who are from the law faculty or law background would need to know what are the legal basis of this order for the control movement. We call it control movement order, CMO, control movement order. So we have those legal. So what do we have during this? Because all these activities are being locked down, we keep being stopped. No activities. You don't see people outside, but actually, yeah, I happen to look up and see how quiet the road is. There are still people, because people are still allowed to go out for necessities, for not for occasional shopping, but for necessities, like you want to buy for food. So it is still allowed. Therefore, markets for necessities, like supermarkets, even some big traditional markets are still open, but under the guardianship of officers, police, as well as military. Now we already have military going down the road. People are still allowed to go to clinics, of course, or to deliver some essential services. But if you are found to be like, 2 people inside a car, then police will stop you. They will ask why you need to have 2 people inside a car. They will not allow that. There must be a very strong justification. All the government and private entities are also closed down, except things like banks, like markets, as I said, clinic, hospitals. So they call it essential services. Universities, yes, universities are all closed down, and including schools. So during this, we don't see people in the campus. Even if you want to go to campus, it is very, very strict. There has been an order not to allow people to go in and out campus. So I see professor in Taiwan, in Asia University in Taiwan, has some luxury to go into the office, because under very strict situation, I see it as luxury, because there are so many of us, that we are so longing, we miss our workplace, or some people just want to go there to, to get books and materials to do it and to work from home. But it's very difficult now. So, and also, interestingly, after a few days of this control movement, the police or the authority decides that some places had to be under an enhanced, they call it enhanced movement order, enhanced movement control order. In bahasa it's called perintah kawalan pergerakan yang diperketat or diperketatkan. Meaning it is stricter there. Because they see, for example, there is an upsurge of more than 40 positive cases in one place, in one apartment, for example. So they will seal all the whole apartment from the rest of the world. So people cannot go out from that apartment. So essential services will have to be brought there, like food, like deliveries, like clinics will be provided nearby. So we have few places like that, because some towns, some places witness a very high increase of cases. So the police enhance the movement order, and therefore it becomes like a totally. Okay, it's interesting that all these order, they are backed up by quite a strict law, and that is one thing. Another thing is that the enforcement is there. The police actually stop you and issue you with a warrant, summons meaning tilang, summons, or you are being called to court to answer. Basically, we have seen so many hundreds of cases. People are called to court. What is the highest sanction for this? If you are found to be outside and you are violating this order, the maximum amount of fines is 10,000 ringgit. 10,000 ringgit is how much, Pak Yordan? Yeah, it's 35 million. And also you may be jailed. The highest would be 6 months. So there had been cases throughout the past few weeks. All right. Now, interestingly, of course, other than those movement restriction order, the government come up with some incentives. You will find that some of these incentives are very helpful for universities. This is just the overview. I'll show you the overview. Now, this is it. This is one of it. Okay, you might be laughing, the Indonesians, to see this word package rangsangan ekonomi. So it's actually to stimulus, to stimulate the economy. Rangsangan is a stimulus. So as you see, public servants, including, glad to say that this includes the professors and lecturers in public universities like us. We're entitled to get 500 ringgit money, one off. Will be automatically put into our account, but only one time. Yeah, of course, I wish it is every month, but only one time. Who are eligible? As you see, people or public servants of grade 56 and below. 56 here or in the university, it is actually for associate professors and below. Will be entitled to this 500 ringgit. So 500 ringgit is about 1.5 million, 1.5 juta rupiah in Indonesian rupiah. And then there are few fund that had been allocated by the government. That includes for the universities, and you can see here many of the university employees or workers will be entitled to some cash support. And also there is a specific fund to be given to universities to provide food for students who stay in the hostel. So for your information, there are so many, and almost all public universities in Malaysia, they have hostels. Students stay in the hostel. And some of those people, they do not go home at this point of time because we allow them. If it is too difficult, and we allow them, if they choose to stay in the hostel, they can stay in the hostel, and they will be guaranteed food. And food will be coming from the university, basically from the government, 3 times daily. So if you eat 3 times, it is good enough. If you eat more than 3 times a day, so you need to find your own. There is a canteen actually allowed to operate at the same time. And then you may have heard that for this time, from April and most probably for a few months ahead, our internet subscription will be free of charge. So this is for including those internet that you subscribe at home will be given for free. So this is also one of the stimulus. So meaning when you are home, you want to have these activities online, will be supported by this stimulus. And then also for students, good thing is that they get 200 ringgit Malaysia, one off for university students, and 200 ringgit is like 600,000. So those are from the central government, and then I'm telling you what the governments are also responding, and from the ministry level, they have been coordinating with the universities and private universities. And then good thing here is that the ministry has been from time to time issuing lots of notices, advisories, as well as just a few FAQs, frequently asked questions about things related to education, higher education, as well as for other things, so so we are not left in the dark. We are being informed. We kept being informed from time to time what is happening, what is government doing. This is very important. Yeah, we know, like every day there will be 2 press conferences. At 2 p.m. is from this ministry coordinating minister of security. He is going to tell us, the whole world, the whole Malaysia, and media on TV, what the government is doing, yeah, until that point of time. So I mean, this is happening every day. Yeah, and then at 5 p.m. this was at 2 p.m. from Minister dealing with the security. Okay, and then at 5 p.m. it is specially from the Ministry of Health, who will be telling you or updating you from time to time what happens when it comes to COVID-19 case related. So every day we are spoon-fed by this information. There is no reason for you not to know what is happening. So in law, we have this principle called ignorantia juris non excusat, right? Ignorantia juris non excusat. You don't have a reason not to know what the law is, but this is beyond the law. This is also policies. This is also the facts that's happening. So people are kept informed as to what is going on. So this is Minister of Education, Datuk Dr. Noraini, Minister of Higher Education. So he or she told us with this infographic telling us, of course, it's in Bahasa. Professor wouldn't have a luxury to read this in Bahasa. So she's telling us what the Ministry of Education is doing. Let me just highlight to you, among others. Of course, they are opening up the operation hotline 24 hours. So if you have any question about education, higher education, you can call them. And then for the students, the alumni who are owing to the government, the education fund, they can, Malaysians can go to learn in university on loan by loan from the government. And once they go back and work, they have to pay. So this loan repayment has been stopped temporarily. Yeah, has been stopped temporarily. And then, as said, there will be money of fund to people on campus. Then also they are giving directions as well as advisories on online learning. Also, they provide every university has their clinics, the labs. They provide under the coordination of Ministry of Health for screening and testing of COVID-19 cases. So these are among the highlights that I'd like to share with you from the ministry perspective. Yeah. So here we have some infographic. As you see, all the infographic I'm sharing with you, they are available at the ministry's website and Facebook, as well as Instagram and Twitter. So they are everywhere. I don't have to go to find elsewhere. I just go to this ministry websites, and they inform me what is happening and what they do. Yeah. These are actually a reflection of what is going on. Also about the online learning. Online learning, I must tell you, okay, the directive about online learning, to tell you the truth, even though the internet in Malaysia is quite good, then the penetration is quite good, but when it comes to this situation, the ministry did not direct or did not compulsorily mandate the lecturers and the universities to conduct synchronous online learning, which means synchronous online learning means this is what we are doing today. Like everyone attends at the same time from their respective places and houses, and we use the platform that we can meet at the same time. So this is called synchronous online learning method. But this one is not compulsorily mandated. Why? Because we are talking about the difference of bandwidth, and perhaps some people have babies. It's not easy to be at the same time, or maybe have other commitments. So, and this is also a hard time. So the government decides, which is reflected by the university, that we do not compulsorily make the synchronous online learning as one of the learning methods. So you can use anything. In fact, we should not make the synchronous online learning as our learning method in order to accommodate those problems hardship students have. But we still advise them doing any other online methods. You may want to use Zoom, but you don't make it compulsory to students. Or you may want to record your presentation and upload it on any of the platform. Or you want to use the other non-video based and so on. So this is still being highlighted. Now let me do, this is the last part of my presentation. Implementation by IIUM, International Islamic University Malaysia. As I told you earlier, we have about 25,000 students spread over about 5 areas of campuses. So before the MCO, meaning before the order, we already prepared or started the quarantine policy for students, especially coming from China. We do have, there are 3 countries other than Malaysia that are very highly represented in IIUM. You may guess, number 1 is Indonesia, number 2 is Bangladesh, number 3 is China. So we have people from these highest 3 countries in UIA or in IIUM. So for students coming from China, the university already started quarantine policy. This was even before the lockdown situation. And then once the things are worse, we decide to postpone all the non-academic as well as academic activities. We cancel classes. Of course, some people are happy, some people are not. But we still didn't know at that time until the lockdown was announced. And then first thing the university do is to look back and to revise our academic calendar. So the question, there is a big question here. When we tell the campus is locked down and is closed down, and we tell students you can go home, while actually it is not a break time. Actually, it's supposed to be an active time. So the question was, do we consider this like 2 weeks of this lockdown period as an added break time for them, as an added break or as an added holiday for them? Or is it considered as an active study time being done online or distant? So we have these 2 big questions, and at the end, the university, of course, with the advice of the government, decide that we shall not count this lockdown period, and therefore it is like an extended break for our students. And therefore, at the end, we have to change our academic calendar. We are actually, by now, we already extend our current semester by 2 months. So we already extended by 2 months. Yeah. So there are 2 months break in between that we already gave to our students. So other than that, now you see, if it is locked down like that, so we allow students to go home, and then lecturers cannot work from campus. They have to go home. They work from home, and therefore the lecturers are advised to prepare, and they have to, one of the thing for us to consider is to relook at our learning method, because we are looking at many possibilities. Perhaps students may never come back, soon. They may not come back soon. So we have to consider in near future an online or distant learning method. Second, we have to change the assessment method, because we cannot expect, face-to-face presentations, exam, and so on. But we have to change everything. This is what we have to do. And the exam questions we already submitted earlier will need to be changed as well, because they're going to have books with them. So students may have, open book exam. So if you have open book exam, you cannot ask what is 1 + 1, or what is, and who was the American who, the first who arrived America, the Christopher Columbus professor was saying. So you have to create that question so as to suit the situation. We have a specific question of our international students. What do we do with our international students? First, we actually advise them, if you want to go home and you feel it is better to go home, you better go home. You go home. So we allow them to go out. But if you choose to remain in the campus, there you will be. Yeah, you will be locked down. You will be within the campus. You are not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But in the meantime, even if any student wishes to go home for some reason, they will still be allowed, you know, but we'll have to verify all these paperwork and situation. And then since everyone here comes from international office, there will be a question about visa matters. What about their visa? Yeah, we have our students who want to go home because they have to, you know, because who need to renew their visa, or some people who need to go home and then need to come back to renew their visa. So there is this a very clear directive from Immigration Office of Malaysia that during this lockdown, these immigration matters are also frozen. Meaning, if your visa expires today, let it expire. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry, and you will, maybe technically you are illegal, but since there is already a new directive, you will be able to come back. You will be able to stay even without visa. And if the lockdown is already lifted, you report yourself. So the visa will be done later. So this is a very uh, um, facilitating or very helpful policy by the government, that visa for our students, for our international students, will be relaxed. Yeah, it will only be done later after the lockdown time expires. Okay, so the rest of the thing, I just want to show very quickly the infographic, you know, the posters, because these things are being circulated to us, yeah, about the extension of the semester. And then here, what the do's and the don'ts, yeah, the do's and the don'ts, what to do and what not to do for our students, guideline. And then also for our staff, what should you do? You walk away, but you don't go away, you work away. then Then here we have all the numbers required, because we have the security services, clinic services. Yeah, they are still intact. Even international office, as you realize, there is one international office number there, because you know UIA, especially IUM, is so international, and we have so many, you know, international community. We have to be very prepared just in case anything happen to our international students. So this hotline will remain open, right? So yeah, there is also movement by some of us, students, staff, to get donation from people, yeah, to support each other, either in terms of academic expertise. You know, some people from engineering department, they prepare this APD or PPE to help our frontliners. So we have this, you can call this community service programs. Yeah, also the fund, for example, this is just an example. And also very interesting, some people come up with this writing competition. You have so much time at home, so why don't you utilize it? We open up a writing competition, something like this. So as a conclusion, I must inform you, number one, first and foremost, we need information. Everyone needs information. So information needs to be very clear, need to be updated from time to time. So whether you are at the faculty level, at the university level, or at the government level, you need to inform, you need to keep people informed. So, and for that purpose, we need this one window public information. It is university, one window in the university. Don't let people from different departments, different division speak differently. And then also this, whatever we keep people, we inform people, this has to be implemented accordingly as well as properly. And there must be measurement to make sure they are well implemented. So that is, I think, what I can share. I hope it will be benefited by everyone here. Thank you very much again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Assalamualaikum
Sonny
warahmatullahi
from
wabarakatuh.
IIUM Malaysia. It's very interesting, insightful, yeah, for management of COVID-19 response. Okay, I think now we are ready to have the session for question and answers. So for all the participants, Bapak Ibu, please, if you have question, please accept the question. Thank you. Oh yeah, we have a question already from the chat. So this is from Prof. Chen. This is to Prof. Chen from Ibu Ana. Ibu Ana, if I'm not mistaken, is from is the head of international office from Muhammadiyah West Sumatra. Yeah. Hello, Bu.
Yes, how are you?
Okay, so the question is from Prof. Chen.
Yes.
It's about yeah. So I would like to know about censoring, measuring, analyzing, and responding in your university or home country to combat the pandemic.
Would you repeat the question?
Mrs. Anna would like to know about the censoring, measuring, and analyzing method in responding the pandemic in your country.
You're talking about the learning?
The censoring.
Oh, censoring. Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Censoring, yes.
I think it's easier for Asia University. As I mentioned, actually, we have two universities. One is called China Medical University, specialized in medical science. And Asia University is more comprehensive. We also have, medical and health college. We also have nursing college. So in terms of our profession, we do have a lot of like medical doctors, nurses helping with all the preparation. And so, first of all, we take like more proactive measures. Actually, as I said, we are every day I have to come to school. Like I'm sitting in my office, but we have already several B plans ready in case any one of us, get positive case. Then the office need to be closed. For example, what are we going to do? So we have preparation plan for this. In terms of the equipment, I think what is more important in Taiwan for us is like the so-called camera. Okay, the so-called they call it thermography. Okay, so if you walk through any entrance, you will be camera automatically, by the machine, and the machine can detect whether you have high fever, you have high temperature, whether you look, your face look red, or whether you have, runny nose. And if you are detected, then you will be stopped. Number one. Number two, actually, before this conference, even I'm in my office, I need to wear my mask, but I just remove it out of politeness. Usually, every student, if they enter the university, they need to wear a mask. And we have done this from the beginning when the outbreak, when the virus outbreak. So we have been doing this, and I believe this kind of safety measure help us a lot. Now, even if you take the bus, if you take the transportation, if you do not wear a mask, you are not allowed to enter. So we also prepare quite a lot of masks also for our international students, because like if you're an exchange student, you do not ARC, alien, visa. It's difficult for you to buy the mask. So in my office, we prepare a lot of masks for any international student who find it difficult to buy the mask from the store. So I think these are all the measures. But I would say the whole university, from the president to the staff, we are all very conscious about the danger of the virus. I think thanks to our bad experience in the year 2003, it was the time when SARS broke out, and Taiwan suffered a lot because of the not transparency in the international community. We did not get enough news information about the danger of the virus. So this time, when we learned about the virus broke out in China, the whole country was very alert. So the first movement the Taiwan government did is to stop all students from China coming to Taiwan. So now on our campus, no student from China, unless they chose not to return during the winter break. Okay, so that's what I just try to highlight. Transparency, as Professor Sonny just mentioned, transparency of information, of news, that is the key issue. Honesty to deal with the situation, that is also the key point. Actually, Sonny also mentioned their Minister of Health every day would host a press conference. The same with Taiwan. At 2 o'clock every day, the Minister of Health would announce, what just happened in the past day. So I think the university is working with the Minister of Education, and the Minister of Education working with the central government for all this. And I think we are lucky in the sense that we have a lot of medical nursing professionals in helping us to prevent this disease. I'm not sure whether I answered your question or not.
Okay, what about Bu Ana? Have you got the question? Okay, where's Bu Ana actually? Yeah, but I think it's pretty clear, Prof, about the explanation about how you utilize the essentials or the essential measures and analysis are measured in your country. Okay, Prof, maybe we can move to the next question. Okay, yeah. Okay, Mrs. Ana Yusman said thank you to you, Prof. Okay, next question, please. Maybe you can. Okay, so there's a good. There's a second question. Actually, this question is for all the speakers. Okay, for all the Prof. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's still for Prof. Yinghuei again. It's about what is the key of successful in Taiwan governments do against this pandemic?
The what?
What is the success? What is the successful story of?
If you're suspect, right?
Yeah. How can Taiwan get success in combating?
Actually, the question is, what is the key of successful of Taiwan's government?
The key
what is the key of
successful?
Oh, the key of success. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I just want to repeat the keyword I'm saying. Conscious awareness or consciousness raising. Okay, because if the whole country is very alert to the danger of the disease, then of course it's easy for us to create clear regulations. So we have very clear regulations. We have 3 different types of regulation for 3 different type of people. Number 1, you have like a past travel history to China, to some more dangerous places. Then when you return, you have to stay at home to do self-health management for 14 days. This is the lightest case. But if you have some contact with confirmed cases more, then it will be quarantined by yourself for 14 days. So we create 3 different types of isolation, okay, from the mild one to the most serious one. For example, I remember, we still have like 9 students at the moment from Indonesia. They came very late, and now we put these 9 students in our special dormitory for these students to stay there by themselves. We provide food, we bring them food, bring them what they need, but they need to stay by themselves because they haven't stayed long enough. Our period is like 14 days. After 14 days, you prove you are okay, then you can go out. Okay, so the government had this kind of measure, and I think Taiwan high tech helps a lot. If you are the suspect, and you are required to confine at home. But for some reason, you go out shopping, or you go out cycling, or you go out taking exercise, you will be immediately detected, spotted, and then the police will stop you. And actually, we have a penalty system, the most serious one in terms of our, our currency is 1 million. 1 million. That's more than 30,000 US dollar if you violate the requirement. This is what the government has been doing. Okay.
Aldi?
Thank you, Prof. It's clear.
Oh yeah, it's clear. Yeah, it's clear for Aldi. Okay, maybe next question again. Actually, you can also unmute your microphone and directly ask, not just type in that. Yeah, it is fine if you unmute the microphone. Okay. Okay, maybe. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, from Pak.
Oh yeah, okay. From
Phil, Yoni, right? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, Professor Chen.
Yes, good
and
afternoon.
Professor Ahmad Muttaqin and Sonny, Professor Sonny. Thank you for your presentation. It is very valued and really informative for our next plan. Yeah. And then for today, I would like to ask you about international student issues. When we were in overseas, so I can feel how difficult the international students are, far from their home country and then far from their beloved ones. So we would like to know what is specific, strategies from your university to make the international students stay conveniently. So when we were in overseas, for instance, so we expect that because of this very difficult situation, so there are big issues like scholarships and then food supply, something like that. So is there any special treatment that your university undertaken to deal this issue? Yeah, for instance, what about the extension? Is there any extensions of the studies? Is there any extensions of the scholarship if they are scholarship beholder, something like that? So I think we can consider such best practice for our university. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm sorry, Bapak, where are you from, sir? What university?
University of West Sumatra.
Oh, Muhammadiyah. Oh ya, temannya Ibu Ana. Okay. Okay, sir, Prof. Yinghuei, please answer.
You want me to answer the question?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I think the number one, we have because in Taiwan we are more popular with Line. In Indonesia, you are more popular with WhatsApp. Yeah. So in Taiwan, we have all the international students joining Line group. Okay. I also joined the Line group. So we have two separate Line group. One is for the old student. One is for the new student. And when the virus just broke out in the very beginning, every day I send email to all the international students reporting what is happening in Taiwan. Okay, so as I said transparency of information is important. So I almost have done this every day during the whole month. Almost one email, one to the student, keep them informed. So I think, student knows what's going on in Taiwan. Number two, we would assess students from which country, from which area would be encounter difficulty, would bring some kind of a danger to us. So before they make any requests, we will send letter to those students. If you're a student from, for example, if you're a student from Korea, if you're a student from Japan, sorry, it's not the right time for you to return back to Taiwan. You need to stay in Japan. Asia University at this stage will not accept you if you come. But at the same time, we guarantee all the students, if you are going to graduate this coming summer, we guarantee you will graduate in time. In other words, you don't have to postpone your study. If you want to return after the virus dies out, you can return anytime, and we can offer extra classes to make up. So this is what we assure the student. And we can say, okay, you can also take our online courses back at home. So we emphasize you can suspend your classes, but your study will not be interrupted. Okay, for example, this semester we are supposed to receive like 100 international students as new enrollment student. Then we send letter to these 100 students. Sorry, because of the time of crisis, we postpone your registration enrollment until September, but we guarantee all your scholarship will be maintained. Okay, this kind of information. Okay, for those who have that visa extension issue, because Taiwan Ministry of Foreign Affairs also work together with Ministry of Education. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced any student who counter this kind of extension program because of the virus, no, we don't have to ask any reason. Their visa will be automatically extended until the virus dies out. So I think this is what we have been doing. So I just want to emphasize, because our news is very transparent and our regulation actually is very clear. It's very clear. Yesterday, I just sent another letter to students who stay at Asia University because the government is trying to avoid crowd gathering. So I sent an email to the student. I think Jordan also received one forward from me. I said, these 11 places are not encouraged for you to visit. If you have to visit, you have to consider the consequence. Okay, this like this kind of letter. So I think transparency of information is very important to all the international students, and we try to be more understanding in case they have any difficulty. And as I said, my office is open. All my personnel, they are still working in my office. So even though most of the courses are delivered online, but the school is still open. The president is still in his office. I'm still in my office, and I'm speaking from my office now, actually. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much,
Mhm.
Professor Chen. I
Yes.
really do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, now we have a question. Maybe this could be last but not least question from Pak Wongso Adi Saputra. He's doing research about the impact of this pandemic with the education, with the teaching and learning process. The question is about okay. The question is for Professor Sonny and Professor Chen again. Chen, about about the students and lecturers' difficulties in running the teaching and learning process. Okay,
The what?
so we have talked about how the students try to cope with the situation. What about from the teachers itself? How do they deal with this learning process?
This question for me?
Yes. For Professor Chen and Professor Sonny.
Okay,
For you, sir.
Sonny might like to respond to the question first.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
probably
sure.
for Professor Sonny about how the lecturers try to cope with the situation in your university.
Okay, thank you. We actually been we have been having online system from quite a long time, even before this pandemic crisis. We do have that system, internal system. It has been used, but it has not been used effectively, actually. It has not been used effectively, and neither it is used commonly. So we see a shift in a jump inside, in fact, a jump in the use of the technology for learning, especially the online learning method due to this pandemic crisis. So in Malaysia, especially in our university, as I said earlier, actually in the very beginning, there was this question whether we should make the lockdown process or lockdown period as a compulsory online learning period. If the answer is yes, the next question will be how ready are we? How ready are we? We here refers to both lecturers and students. I bet that our students are far more ready than the lecturers. I think it applies to everyone, to all universities. You know, we are talking about X, Y generations, and so there is a gap of this internet literacy, technology literacy. But actually, to my pleasant surprise, when we were told about this possibility, all the respective faculties quickly tried to train everyone. So we had few days where everyone were being trained. And quite amazingly, even senior lecturers, senior professors, well, I happen to be still junior compared to them, even senior professors are still are coping quite well. So we saw a very quick, progress in that. And somehow we were telling ourselves, yes, we are ready. Yes, we are ready to implement the online learning. But then somehow the higher management and the university may have different idea, having the fact that our students are going home. They are not on campus. It will be quite different if the students are on campus. We have a bandwidth, we have technologies, we have computers. But now students are going back home. And we are talking about students not only in Kuala Lumpur city area, but also many rural areas. So government decided that it is not made a compulsory. And therefore, to answer to the question, we still don't know exactly how ready we are. Yeah. When you talk about literacy, this can be learned very quickly, I believe. I'm not talking about students. Students can learn it quickly, but for lecturers, we just need little time. And I realize many lecturers, even the senior lecturers and professors, learn it quite quickly. But I think there is another issue other than bandwidth issue or connectivity issue. The issue is that are we actually ready to translate those learning outcomes that we already outlined earlier into this new digital environment? There are these, as you know, in our syllabus and curriculum, we already outlined our learning outcomes and we already outlined the methodologies in order to achieve those learning outcomes. So some of those outcomes, you never get that outcomes without face-to-face interaction. And some of those outcomes are still related to some professional standard. I'm talking, for example, about medical students or legal law students or even engineering students. Yeah, many things are not being done, have to be done face to face. So we are not really ready to actually translate our curriculum to be readily available and readily applicable to this digital environment. So I think this is a big question to all of us. Let us go back to this, to our conceptual, curriculum syllabus, to those, of course, I don't see in near future that we are going to go digital 100%. No, it's not going to happen. Even though our in Malaysia already start to use artificial intelligence, but it's not going to happen very soon. So we may have to reduce these outcomes in face-to-face learning. Will have to be more and more reduced. So that is actually the biggest hurdle to me, to that question. Yeah, that is my response to that question. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Prof. What about Mr.
Thank you, Prof.
Adi? What your response about?
Okay, okay.
Sonny?
I think I totally agree with Professor Sonny. Actually, online or distant learning is at a stage not ready for every university. Okay, and fortunately, of course, here at Asia University, because we have been asked to produce MOOCs, massive open online courses over the years. So we have already collected more than dozens of MOOCs already. So I can give you one example, like we have compulsory English language courses. I also happen to be the director of the language center. So over the past 5 years, we have produced a MOOC. So for English courses, we just rely on the MOOCs for this semester. But for some professor, online is a challenge, especially when it comes to the so-called assessment. I myself is a good example. This morning I just video my teaching because I need to upload to the system for my student to watch. But I've been thinking, when the midterm comes, I'm going to summon my student back to school because, as I said, our school is not locked. Our school is open. So instead of having all the students, I have a class about 55 students. Instead of having 55 students in one class taking the midterm, I might use 2 weeks, separate the student for 2 times of midterm. So this is how to cope with the assessment. And also, I have my teaching assistant. And at the moment, these 2 teaching assistants all come from Indonesia. Okay, they are more strict than me. So every week they use line group. They send email to the student in class. Okay, every Friday evening you have to write a feedback, a reading notes after you watch Professor Chen's video. Without submitting the reading note, they will be marked as absent. So I come to realize, a student from Indonesia, when they work as teaching assistant, they are quite diligent. They are very strict than me. So we use this to measure the progress of student learning. Actually, the key point I want to say, online learning, quality of education is the key. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, I think Mr. Wongso has response to the question. Okay, probably this is going to be the last questions. It's from Pak Irwandi, Muhammadiyah Tangerang. The question is for Malaysia and Taiwan.
Also, Dr. Arif. Also, Dr.
Yeah.
Pak Muttaqin also there.
Oh yeah, for also Mr. Pak Ahmad. Yeah. So the question is about how universities, bringing their expertise and resources to help our respective countries in tackling this outbreak safely. So how is So it's actually like how the contribution for the researchers in university in dealing with this pandemic. Maybe Pak Ahmad, if you want to answer first. Ahmad, maybe you can answer it.
Okay, I don't get the exact what's question from everyone.
So actually, the question is like, how university helping and bringing the expertise and resources to help tackling this outbreak scientifically. So it's more like the contribution from university in terms of the research, sir.
I would like to talk about in terms of Muhammadiyah. Yeah, we do already coordinate with Muhammadiyah University, especially who has study program in medicine, but also in nursing and health management. And we already make list and data about the powerful, the power and the resource we have in terms of distributing our potential to participate in tackling this outbreak. For example, in the body of Muhammadiyah COVID-19 Command Center, we put there representative from the Council of Higher Education. And from that, we also asked Muhammadiyah University, who has study program, especially in health and medicines, to support the program in MCCC, and also to participate in the community service and also in research. For example, we actually already talked to some big university in Muhammadiyah about the capacity of the laboratory, whether the university laboratory can be participated in the context of tracing, in the context of conducting tests, and so on and so on. But the problem is actually about the regulation. Therefore, in terms of Muhammadiyah University resources, we only support and encourage to participate in terms of a community service, and also in terms of handling the disease in hospital, we coordinate with the MCCC and also the Muhammadiyah and Aisyah hospital networks. As you know, for example, Muhammadiyah Hospital in Yogyakarta, for example, it has connection with School of Medicine in Muhammadiyah University of Jakarta. So they can make a collaboration in order our resources, Muhammadiyah resources in the university can participate in handling this COVID-19 outbreaks. Okay. In addition to the health service system, we also note that many study programs in psychology, for example, they also create a program for like a trauma healing, like program for consultation for the maybe stressful situation for the family, and they make an online consultations. I think this is a good example how we actually who have many study program related to what we already know the problem of COVID-19, we actually can participate to handling this COVID-19 outbreak. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak. I think from Prof. Sonny, he has answered in chat. Yeah, Prof. Sonny has answered from chat. Mr. Irwandi, maybe you can see the answer from Prof. Sonny Zulhuda from the chat. What about you, Mr. Prof. Chen, about what's the research that has been developing now in Taiwan?
Okay. I think I can give a very brief answer to a question. As I mentioned, because Asia University has the so-called College of Medical Health and also nursing college, and actually at Asia University we have two former ministers of health as professor at Asia University. So as you know, a minister of health, we all know they need to come from the so-called medical or health area. So in terms of like helping with the production of vaccine or the testing method or even the drug, the medicine, the medical doctor help a lot. Actually, yesterday we just learned that some of our medical doctors are helping with to come up with a testing, method that will test whether you are positive or negative in 15 minutes. And this is part of the medical, personnel can help with the situation. But the overall, we also have the healthcare management. So in time of crisis, how these experts can design some good framework so that the country feels safe under this umbrella. This is what we can do. Also, we have some professors start to doing research on this particular virus.
Yes. Okay, very interesting. Okay, well, I think
Bu Ori, just one inquiry. Professor Chen, Pak Muttaqin, also Dr. Sonny, would you mind sending us the PPT slides, since actually some of the head of international office actually need your PPT slides? Would you mind just sending me by WhatsApp so I can share and forward to all the colleagues from Muhammadiyah Education? Thank you.
No problem.
Sure, I will send it
very soon. You'll have it very soon. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we have come to the end of this very interesting talks, and I'm going, before I hand over to Pak Yordan, maybe I could make a little bit a conclusion that what we can gather from this ongoing experience by Indonesia, Taiwan, and Malaysia, that we have to see that there is a, if I said it, there is going to be looming problems and about the magnitude of the situation. And I hope that we still haven't known when will this pandemic end, but I hope that we still can have a time and really have the preventive measure to solve this or to combat this pandemic. Well, thank you very much for all the speakers and all the participants. And now I hand over to Pak Yordan. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Bu Ori. Finally, I would like to say thank you very much, Professor Chen, Dr. Muttaqin, and also Dr. Sonny Zulhuda from Malaysia, from Taiwan, also Central Board of Muhammadiyah. So it's interesting for us to know about how Malaysia and also Taiwan, especially to just respond and having mitigations for this COVID outbreaks. So thank you very much for your information, Bapak Ibu. This is the second serial of our ASKUI talk. So we will have another talk in the future that would be announced soon as possible. Again and again, thank you very much, Prof. Chen, Dr. Muttaqin, and also Professor Sonny Zulhuda. Bye-bye.
Good job. Bye-bye.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.